Hello and a very warm welcome. I am Gursheen Garland and you're watching Firstpost. In the next few minutes, we bring you the top 50 updates from around the world, only here on Fast and Factual. Let's get started. Our top focus comes in from India. Ties between New Delhi and Ottawa have hit a new low. This after India expelled 6 top Canadian diplomats on Monday. New Delhi also recalled its top envoy from Ottawa after India's High Commissioner to Canada was named as a person of interest in the investigation pertaining to the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. The Canadian diplomats have been asked to leave by or before October 19th. Following India's action and what is seen as a tit-for-tat move, Canada also expelled 6 top Indian diplomats yesterday. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau also held a press conference in Ottawa. He said India made a fundamental error by supporting quote-unquote criminal acts on its soil. Trudeau also banded New Delhi's action as unacceptable. India has dismissed these allegations, calling them part of Trudeau's political agenda. Meanwhile, Canadian police have also accused Indian government agents of working with the Bishnoi gang to spread criminal activities in Canada. They said their collaboration was aimed at destabilizing security in the country. The police alleged India is targeting pro-Khalistani elements through the gang. The Bishnoi gang is a criminal organization. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit starts today in Pakistan. It will conclude tomorrow. Leaders from India, China, Russia will be in attendance. The meeting will be chaired by Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has also left for the summit in Islamabad. This is the first time an Indian EAM will be in Pakistan in nearly 9 years. Taiwan has detected a record 153 Chinese military aircraft around the island. The Chinese aircraft were seen early on Tuesday. This comes a day after China held large-scale drills surrounding Taiwan. Beijing had deployed fighter jets, drones, warships and Coast Guard boats yesterday. The drills came after Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te spoke about defending Taiwan's sovereignty. Taiwan has condemned China's actions as irrational and provocative. Moving to the conflict in West Asia, Israel bombed northern Christian majority village in Lebanon yesterday. At least 21 people died in the strike. The building that was hit was reportedly housing families displaced from Lebanon's south. The Lebanese army sealed the area after the strike sparked a fire. The Israeli army said it has found an underground compound belonging to Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. The military also released a video showing the same. The footage showed shots of weapons in beds and motorcycles. According to IDF, the alleged Hezbollah compound was intended for Hezbollah to plot an attack deadlier than the October 7 massacre in 2023. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to keep attacking Hezbollah mercilessly. This comes a day after Lebanese group launched one of its deadliest strikes on Israel. Hezbollah's drone attack on an Israeli base killed 4 soldiers and injured another 60. Meanwhile, Netanyahu has reiterated his call for UN peacekeepers to leave combat zone from Lebanon. Meanwhile, Israel has reportedly assured the US that it will not target Iran's nuclear or oil facilities in its retaliatory attack. It says it will focus on Iran's military and intelligence sites instead. Iran launched a ballistic missile attack on Israel on October 1. Tehran said it was in response to Israel's killing of key Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. Israel has vowed reprisal against Iran's October 1 strike. A second polio vaccination campaign began in central Gaza on Monday. United Nations officials said over the next 12 days they aim to vaccinate nearly 600,000 children under 10 years of age. The first vaccination campaign took place in September. Over 550,000 children were administered polio jabs. The White House has warned the Iranian government to stop plotting against US presidential candidate Donald Trump. It added that any further on his life shall be considered as an act of war. A US official reported that President Joe Biden gets briefed about these threats regularly. He has asked the administration to address these Iranian plots against Americans. Iran has denied interfering in Washington's matters. North Korea has destroyed sections of inter-Korean roads and rail lines along its border with South Korea. The explosions took place on October 15 and targeted northern parts of infrastructure linked to South. South Korea also conducted a counter-fire operation in response. This comes after Pyongyang's military last week vowed to seal roads and railways linking to the South. The European Union has imposed sanctions on prominent Iranian officials and entities. Iran's Deputy Defense Minister Saeed Hamez was in the sanctions list. Air Korea Iran was also blacklisted. All these sanctioned Iran officials or entities are accused of supplying ballistic missiles to Russia for its war against Ukraine. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel led a pro-Palestinian march along with other leaders in Havana yesterday. Thousands of protesters also joined Canel expressing solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. The march was set to take place on October 7. However, it was postponed due to Hurricane Milton. Supporters of former Bolivian President Evo Morales clashed with law enforcement officers in town of Parotani on Monday. The former leader faces rape accusations. Morales' supporters blocked a road in the town of Parotani to protest these allegations. Police had to use tear gas to disperse these demonstrators. The protesters responded by hurling stones and homemade explosives. The Bolivian prosecutor's office is currently investigating rape accusation of the president. Moving to climate news now, in Sri Lanka, heavy rainfall has triggered flash floods in the capital of Colombo. 3 people drowned while nearly 134,000 people have been affected by the severe weather. Officials stated that the floods have damaged at least 240 houses and nearly 7,000 people were evacuated to safety zones. Sri Lanka has deployed its Navy and Army personnel for rescue missions. The Indian city of Chennai and its nearby areas are under a spell of heavy monsoon rain. Over 100 relief centers have been set up with essential items in the high-risk areas. Over 300 specially trained police officials have been deployed for emergency situation in the state. The Chennai Weather Center has sent out a red alert for several districts, warning of heavy rainfall in the coming days. The residents of Colombo and Ecuador's rural communities of Andes are trying to save the high-altitude wetlands amid drought. Efforts are in place to restore native plants and save water. These wetlands regulate the region's water cycles. The region is highly dependent on hydroelectric dams for energy that has been affected due to severe drought. Quagga mussels, an invasive species, are spreading quickly through Switzerland's lakes. They are causing significant ecological harm. Originating from the Black Sea, the mussels also endanger local wildlife such as Swiss crayfish by covering and suffocating them. Their consumption of phytoplankton disrupts the entire flood chain, affecting the fish populations. First spotted in the River Rhine in 2014, the mussels have spread to at least 6 lakes. The European Environment Agency has warned that the continent's water systems are under severe strain. It is due to pollution, habitat destruction, climate change, and overuse of freshwater resources. The agency stated that not only a third of its surface water is in healthy condition. According to the report, just 37% of surface water bodies achieve satisfactory ecological health, and only 29% met good chemical standards from 2015 to 2021. On to business and tech news now. Oil prices declined over 3% today. This after fears of supply chain disruption in West Asia faded. Reports said that Israel has shelved its plan to target Iranian oil facilities. Meanwhile, the group of oil production nations, OPEC, has also lowered its growth outlook from 2024 and 2025. The global oil price benchmark, Brent crude, was trading near $75 per barrel. China is reportedly planning to raise $850 billion in the next 3 years. The money would be used to help stimulate the country's stagnating economy. This comes as analysts worry that China might miss its growth target for 2024. The rough recovery from COVID-19, a property sector crisis, and low consumer demand have marred the nation. The International Monetary Fund has issued a stern warning on global debt. The Washington-based lender says that global public debt is expected to cross $100 trillion this year. This is equivalent to 93% of global GDP. The IMF also said by 2030, global debt would reach 100% of world's GDP. It has warned that in countries like the US, Britain, France, and Italy, debt is expected to grow further. The global lender said that these nations would face costly consequences. Meanwhile, the World Bank has released its growth outlook for Pacific Island nations. The global lender said that the region's economic growth would slow down to 3.6% this year. The major contributor to this stagnation is Fiji, which contributes about half of the region's GDP. The World Bank said that the weaker investment and climate risks have marred Pacific nations. The UK has revised about $78 billion in commitment for global firms. This is during an investment summit in London yesterday. The government said that businesses have promised to create 38,000 jobs. During the event, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said that they would scrap regulations that hold back growth. Tokyo Metro is all set to list its stock in Japan next week. The Japanese government-owned entity saw high demand for its shares during the IPO. Shares allocated for both individual traders and large investors were oversubscribed. Reports say Tokyo Metro is expected to raise about $2.3 billion from investors. This would make the subway operators listing Japan's largest IPO in the last 6 years. The U.S. government has now intervened in the ongoing strike by Boeing workers. Acting Labor Secretary Julie Su is flying to Seattle to talk with both the workers and the plane maker. The intervention comes as the strike by Boeing's 33,000 workers has entered its 5th week. Earlier, Boeing said it would lay off 17,000 employees to deal with the financial strain of the walkout. Google has signed a deal with American nuclear reactor operator Kairos Power. Under the deal, Google would use nuclear energy to power its artificial intelligence. Kairos would build 7 small nuclear reactors capable of generating 500 megawatts of power. The first reactor is scheduled to come online by 2030. The Biden administration is reportedly planning to cap the export of advanced chips. The U.S. government wants to limit the sale of American chips that power artificial intelligence. This includes semiconductors produced by NVIDIA, AMD, and other firms. The move would likely focus on Gulf nations like the UAE and Saudi Arabia. Oil-rich countries have been attracting investors to build data centers on their soil. American users of social media platforms Facebook and Instagram were hit by an outage yesterday. Reports said thousands of users were unable to use the Meta-owned platforms during the afternoon. The services have been largely restored. Meta until now has not commented on the outage. Moving to sports, just like usual, we start with cricket. India have been knocked out of the T20 Women's World Cup. The results hinge on the outcome of the Pakistan versus New Zealand. New Zealand secured an undisputed win over Pakistan and beat them by 54 runs. Pakistan defeat means India won't qualify to the next stage. Now India will face New Zealand in a 3-match test series starting tomorrow. It will be played at M. Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru. India's squad will be led by Captain Rohit Sharma and Vice-Captain Jasprit Bumrah. Meanwhile, New Zealand will be helmed by Tom Latham. India currently lead the World Test Championship rankings. Continuing with cricket, the second test between England and Pakistan kicked off today. It is being played in Multan. Pakistan won the toss and opted to bat first. Former captain and leading batter Babar Azam has been dropped off Pakistan's squad. England have already won the first test and taken a lead in the 3-match test series. Moving to football, Nigeria's football team withdrew from the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers in Libya. This after the Super Eagles were stranded for over 16 hours at airport. Nigeria was initially supposed to land in the city of Benghazi, but the team's flight was diverted to Al Abrak and no transport was provided. Libyan Football Federation called the incident unintentional. France secured a 2-1 victory over Belgium in UEFA Nations match. Randal Kolo Muani scored both goals for the Lead Blue. Louis Openda scored the lone goal for Belgium. France's Aurélien Tchouameni was sent off in the 76th minute, but the team held on to their lead despite late pressure from Belgium. Lamine Yamal will miss Spain's UEFA Nations League match against Serbia. This is due to a left hamstring strain sustained during the win over Denmark. The injury was confirmed after an MRI scan showing no major damage. However, he was withdrawn to avoid further risk. Atletico Madrid's Rodrigo Riquelme has been called up for his replacement. Cristiano Ronaldo launches a watch collection featuring iconic career moments. The collection is a collaboration with Jacob & Company. The Portuguese unveiled two models, Flight of CR7 and the Heart of CR7. The two exclusive watches have Ronaldo's image and signature. French captain Kylian Mbappé has resumed training at Real Madrid. Earlier, he missed some of France's Nations League's matches due to an injury. He faced backlash for avoiding national duties but prioritizing his club. The situation escalated further after Mbappé was spotted at a nightclub in Sweden on the night when France played Israel in the Nations League. Mbappé is also under investigation for rape allegations. Swedish media reported Mbappé as a suspect of following his visit to Stockholm. Mbappé strongly denies these accusations. He called it quote-unquote fake news. The alleged incident has been reported by Swedish police, but no official charges has been filed. And in chess, Ukraine-born Grandmaster Kirill Shevchenko has been expelled from the Spanish champions. He was caught for allegedly cheating in the tournament. Shevchenko reportedly used phone that was hidden in a toilet. He allegedly used them in between games. The incident came to light after one of his opponents complained about his long absence in round 2. Now moving to the world of showbiz, a set of new lawsuits have been filed against rapper Sean Combs, accusing him of raping women, sexually assaulting men and molesting a 16-year-old boy. At least 6 lawsuits have been filed anonymously by 2 women and 4 men. One of the cases dates back to 1998 when the alleged victim was 16 years old. Sean Combs is currently in jail after being charged with racketeering and sexual abuse. American singer Olivia Rodrigo tumbled through a trapdoor during her concert in Australia's Melbourne. She unexpectedly fell into the open section of the stage during her performance. However, she quickly got back up and said that she was okay. She is currently performing in Australia as part of her Guts tour. Singer Joe Jonas was spotted kissing a mystery woman in Paris. This happened after he performed a showcase at the bar. According to reports, the woman is a social media influencer named Brenda Sellos. This comes after Jonas ended his marriage with actress Sophie Turner in 2023. The former couple shared 2 daughters together. A new documentary on the iconic British band The Beatles is set to release on November 29. The documentary, titled Beatles 64, will focus on the band's 1964 trip to America. It will showcase never-seen-before footage It will showcase never-seen-before footage of the band along with interviews of the 2 surviving Beatles, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. Grammy Award-winning singer Megan Thee Stallion's documentary will release on Prime Video. The documentary, titled Megan Thee Stallion in Her Words, will tell the viewers the rise and evolution of the singer. It promises to unpack the singer's most vulnerable moments to date. It will start streaming from 31st of October. American country singer Brantley Gilbert stopped his concert midway in Mississippi after his wife went into labor. She was on the musician's tour bus. He later shared on social media that he has been blessed with a baby boy. This is the couple's third baby. According to reports, actor Tom Cruise will move back to the US after spending nearly half a decade in the UK. He lived in the penthouse in central London. Cruise moved to the UK when he was filming Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 and 2. Lupita Nyong'o paid tribute to her late Black Panther co-star Chadwick Boseman at the London Film Festival. The organizers played a clip of the 2018 film after Nyong'o said that she hasn't watched the film since Chadwick passed away. With tears in her eyes, she said the grief is just the love and she does not run away from it. Chadwick Boseman died in 2020 after 4 years of battle with colon cancer. Jeremy Strong, who played the role of Kendall Roy in Succession, says it made him lose touch with joy. In an interview, the actor says he does not miss the role of Roy's tortured mindset. He says it was challenging for him to carry his role struggle for 7 years. The actor won an Emmy and Golden Globe Award for the role. Actor Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson have been roped for the upcoming musical film song Sung Blue. It has been inspired by a true story of Neil Diamond tribute band. The film follows the story of two struggling musicians. A documentary in 2008 was made with the same name. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gursheen Garland and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Stay informed and stay tuned to First Post.